Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Wherever you are on our amazing planet.
Yes, it is amazing.
I'm Ariel.
I'm Shya.
Welcome to being here.
I seem to have
A little frog.
a frog in my throat.
Mm.
Well, we'll just have to live with it.
Or we can celebrate the unexpected.
It is unexpected.
We can celebrate it, or we can kick
Complain
and scream
about it.
Always sounds so lovely. Oh, I was just about to encourage people to listen, but I'm not sure they want to listen to that.
No.
I promise not to do that again.
Okay, let's talk about listening.
Let's.
Listening is when you suspend your internal conversation to allow another person's conversation to come into you.
Suspend your internal conversation to allow another person's words, intent, feeling, what they're saying to come into you.
Yes.
I love it.
Rather than passing it through what you believe or know, to actually see or hear what they say.
My watch is talking to me.
Your watch gave you an unexpected moment.
That's right.
Yes. Life is full of unexpected moments.
But if they don't meet your preferences and you say no to it, you get stuck there.
Forever.
And actually, one of the things about life is there are lots of unexpected moments, and that's a delight as well.
Well, one of the other things about life is that anything you resist keeps coming back. So you fight the same battles over and over again rather than experience what's going on and have it complete itself. You see, when you experience something, it completes itself. When you non-experience it, it continues forever.
Define non-experience.
Resist the current moment. Think about and not agree with how your life is showing up. That's non-experiencing.
Is processing something non-experience?
Absolutely. When you process something, you are in a state of resistance or agreement with, rather than an allowing of what is.
It's a little bit like processed food. It's not particularly good for you. It takes all the nutritive value out. You think it's food, but it's usually doing more harm than good. And then you have to stick some preservatives in it.
Well, it reminds me of our cat's food. It's pureed and then put back together in a pate. And I always find it rather disgusting.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth.
It's a good thing I'm not eating it.
I don't eat it. In fact, when I touch it, I wash my hands.
Well, that's a good thing either way.
I know with COVID, you're supposed to wash your hands. This is my excuse to wash my hands.
Yeah, well.
Hey, let's see. Listening. Listening is critical to transformation, in that transformation happens when you get into the current moment of your life, and listening, true listening, where you are listening to hear what another person has to say, not to rebuke it, not to disagree or agree with it, but to hear it, that pulls you into the current moment of your life. And their transformation happens as a byproduct of being there.
I feel to define our use of the word transformation. We're talking about how your life transforms. So change versus transformation. In the dictionary or common lexicon, it may be slightly different, but this is how we're using it. Change is process, where you take something, you work on it step by step to get it better. It includes effort. Yes. Transformation is now.
It's an instantaneous shifting in the way you experience living. It happens in an instant. It doesn't happen gradually. You're not getting there. You're there.
It also happens with honesty.
Honesty is imperative in the integrity of transformation. If you are not honest. See, transformation happens when you honestly see what is actually happening in current time rather than have it be the way you would prefer it to be. That's all change, and that perpetuates what you say you don't like.
Change is problem, solution. Any solution you can come up with for a problem tends to create more problems. Problem, solution, problem, solution. Transformation is about seeing what is without judging what you see. And that is enough. It's not how we've been trained, but it is something we've experienced over and over again, that when you honestly see something, it unravels the problematic nature of life.
Well, if you honestly hear another person's point of view, there's no longer a fight. If you hear the way they see life, there's no need to disagree or agree with it, but to see it is enough. And, in these days of COVID, people are thrust together because they're in quarantine or lockdown, if you will, because they're and if they aren't listening to each other, then you have a higher divorce rate, and you have unrest, and what do they call that? Domestic violence.
Thrust together in small groups, finite groups.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're stuck with your husband or wife and you
or kids or parents
and aren't listening to them and wish it were different than it was, you perpetuate the state called hell.
Hey, we have a guest. Shall we take him?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
Yes, we will. Dima, you with us?
Hi, Ariel. Hi, Shya. How are you?
We're good, Dima. Nice to see you. We're doing this podcast via Zoom, so we're not only hearing Dima, we're seeing Dima.
So nice to see you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent.
Our pleasure. What can we do for you, sir?
So, about unexpected things. Last week, Tina's grandfather, Tina is my wife, Tina's grandfather suffered a stroke while working out in the garden. So he's now in the hospital fighting for his life because next to the stroke, he suffered a severe case of pneumonia after being delivered to the hospital. So he's now there fighting for his life. That alone is hard enough.
Yes.
For the family, of course. And for me, I would like to be this, this rock in the life of Tina and her family and be there for them, support them. And I find it very hard to find the right words, so to speak, to make her feel better or them feel better. Does it make sense?
It makes very good sense. In fact, you can't find the right words, or at least prepare yourself with the right words. You can't figure it out in advance. What you can do, however, is when you're with Tina, if you're really with her, and express how you feel about your inability to find the right words, you'll find the right words.
See, oftentimes people edit that part out. You have the, I can't find the right words. I don't know how to express how much I care about your father. And you have that thought and you keep that to yourself rather than say, Tina, I don't know how to express how much I care about your father.
I had a situation about a week and a half ago where a man I used to go fishing with many years ago, he had some serious situations happen in his life. His son fell off their boat and drowned. His wife had stage 4 cancer. And I didn't know how to express my own condolences for his situation.
Yeah.
And so I took myself away and didn't say anything. to him at that time. When I spoke to him a week and a half ago, I said, I feel so bad, but I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to empathize with your pain, and I apologize for that. And it was as if it took care of itself in my explaining my own not knowing how to deal with his loss because it was so catastrophic. I didn't know what to say.
I have an idea, though, Dima, that Shya is giving you some clues, but he's missing half of the equation. I would be willing to bet when he said that, he was there to register his friend's response and to hear whatever came back, whether it was anger, whether it was sadness, whether it was vacancy, like to be there fully receptive to whatever
would show up next. Mm-hmm. See, the moment is alive. That's where life takes place in current time, in this moment. So not knowing what to say is not a bad thing. You look and you see what feels right, what's appropriate. I don't know what to say when I'm talking to you in advance, but as I'm being here with you, I realize, this is a difficult situation for you. You don't know what to say and how to make another person feel better. But if you let them know that you're here with them and you're here for them, and there's not much else you can do. You can't take away their pain.
Okay.
Dima, I imagine it's obvious from looking at us, but if for our listeners who don't have the benefit of video, you should know that we have a lot of compassion and hopefulness for your father-in-law
and his recovery.
And I get goosebumps because I often think people really judge our parents or our grandparents or our great-grandparents. But in a certain respect, with this COVID, even though we can see you across the ocean right now, we're being thrust into a circumstance that is reminiscent of people receiving a letter saying your son has been injured in battle, and you can't go to them. You don't even know if the information is current. They have to be with yourself. It's a challenge to not be able to go there and do something, and to discover that your well wishes, your being here, you're being steadfast in yourself, you're allowing yourself to feel, is your greatest expression of yourself when you can't go out and physically change those things you don't like.
Yeah, honestly, it's a relief, and I thank you very much for what you said. It's a relief to know that just expressing what I feel in that moment, this is already enough, and everything actually I can give as well.
Here's the thing. You say expressing. I don't know about expressing. Feeling what you're feeling is sufficient. You cannot express how you feel so another person feels your feelings. So if you allow yourself to feel what you're feeling and not allow yourself to get upset, because you see, upset is a mechanical behavior that's in avoidance of feeling what you're feeling. It's a way to get away from your feelings. You get yourself upset. It's familiar. You've done it before, and it never produces what you want, which is well-being. However, if you allow yourself to feel what you're feeling when you're with your wife whose father is ill, that is enough.
The other thing is, I find it interesting that your takeaway is about you expressing yourself, when really I feel we are more emphasizing listening to your wife,
and letting her express herself, and you just get it. You just receive it, not do anything with it, not solve the problems, because you can't. You're not God in that respect. You have no power to make her father get better, his pneumonia get cured, his stroke reverse itself. You have no power to do that, but you do have the power to hear her concerns without adding to it.
When my mom neared the end of her life, and then it became inevitable, I was surprised at the depth with which I was knocked off my center. It's been a long time since I had that quality of feeling at a loss with myself. And it was so important that Shya didn't judge me and he was there for me. I had underestimated how much she was a pillar for me in my life. And that's part of the unexpected. The unexpected is, here comes this situation, and now what?
Your whole life shifts in an instant, you see. In the moment from gardening to stroke, everything has shifted in everybody who's related to your father-in-law's world. It's all shifted in that instant. It's not predictable. What you can do is embrace it as though it's your moment, rather than resist it as if it should be different than it is, because you can't change it. It's already happened, you see.
Yeah, maybe that's what I was trying. Maybe that's what I was trying to change the status of Tina's mind, of her. I just wanted her to feel better, and I thought I'm responsible for achieving that through words or anything I can do. And what you're saying.
But what you can do is really listen to her and get her experience of what she's going through without trying to change it or fix it.
And I really get you want her to feel better.
That's right. See, and I get that too. But trying to get her to feel better will keep her stuck longer in the dismay of her father's illness.
Because first principle, anything you resist, don't like, try to change, try to make better. You're actually reinforcing.
It makes it stronger and last longer.
Second principle.
It shows up the way it does, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Third principle.
Anything you allow to be exactly as it is completes itself in an instant. So if you actually hear Tina's sorrow or pain or distress, but don't do anything with it or about it, but hear it, that is enough for her to release that or complete that in herself. If you resist it, it will persist.
One last thing, Dima, I know people can't see you. I know a lot of the people listening have never met you, but there's a three-dimensionality and stillness about you that this particular situation has brought into focus, a level of stability, maturity. There's something that's happening for you that in this unfortunate situation is distilling you down to the incredible man that Tina loves.
Thank you. That means a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you
for listening.
Thank you for
sharing yourself with us and with our listeners.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure being with you today. And again, we wish our very best for Tina's dad.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now it's your turn. Let's hear what one of you listeners has to say about being here in the transformation community.
My name is Val, and I live in Montclair, New Jersey. I love attending seminars with Ariel and Shya because they're a mirror to what's possible. I discover things beyond what I think I'm capable of, and I meet the most incredible people, including myself.
If you would like to experience an expanded sense of well-being, join us. Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shya's lively interactive global video seminars. Participate in any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
We have a course coming up in November, Discover the Healer in You.
That's November 21st and 22nd.
It is virtual, of course, and especially after speaking with Dima, I see that we all are discovering new ways to express ourselves and experience the healing quality of being us. If you would like to join us for that, just go to transformationmadeeasy.com and you can find out more and register.
We have another course coming up in December 2nd, 9th, and 16th.
It's the first 3 Wednesdays.
In December.
It's just for 2.5 hours. I don't have it right in front of me.
But the name of the course is Speak Up, and it's led by Ariel and Susan Finch, who's a
renowned voice and speech coach. And,
that's right.
She's amazing. It will be fun. It's a great way just to practice being able to speak up about anything and have fun while doing it.
You know, how much of the time you suppress what you want to say because you think you'll look foolish, you won't say it right, or people will judge you. Well, people will judge you, but hey, that's the way life is. Now, the game is to be self-expressive anyway, and speak up is fun.
It is. Let's take our next guest, shall we?
Let's.
All right, Daniela.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Daniela and I'm calling in from Euskirchen, which is located in Germany.
Well, welcome.
It's near Cologne, yeah?
Yes, exactly. It's near Cologne. Yeah.
Excellent. Lovely having you with us.
Thank you. And I'm touched to be with you, and it's always nice to see how, when you talk about to be empathetic.
Empathetic, yes.
I can access this feeling when I'm surrounded by this community and by you, and my question is, I'd like to access it a bit more when I'm.
Well, here's the thing, my sweet.
Yeah.
You can only be in the current moment of your life. And what we have going on right here, right now, is your mind trying to figure out how to fix the future before it gets here.
Based on your judgments of yourself from the past.
Yeah. Yes.
So there's nothing you need to do to develop your empathic abilities. They're there. That's called humanity. Your humanity exists in you. What you need to do is be where you are rather than worry about how the future is going to turn out.
When you get around us or around our community, you're actually practicing a skill set. And then, of course, that skill set that you get better at is something that you can draw upon in other circumstances.
But it's not something you have to prepare for, you see. You are already full-blown a healer in you. Your ability to make a difference in people's lives is already fully existent in you when you're here, when you're being with another person. It doesn't develop, it's already there. It's developed. When you think about how to be a better person, now you're no longer here. You're no longer in the moment. You're in your thoughts about how to be better in some fictitious future. The best thing I can say is that you're already magnificent. There's nothing you need to work on.
But it's a challenge to celebrate the unexpected when we turn off the video, we turn off the audio, you don't have anybody apparently in your home except for your daughter who you live with or the people who come in to support you, which may not be a lot of people right now because of COVID. So what you're left with is your internal conversation for company. And that internal conversation is not unexpected. It is expected. It says the same things over and over, and you listen. That's part of why when you're on the global video seminars or weekends, something different happens. It's unexpected.
Because you're taking a break from your own internal conversation. You're listening to other people. You're getting engaged in what's happening there and second principle of instantaneous transformation says no two things can occupy the same Daniela at the same time. So you can either be listening to your internal conversation or listening to things going on around you, not both.
Now, in a situation where once we're done with this podcast and you disconnect from how we are connected, it's so easy now to disengage and then turn your vision inward and start thinking about what was said, what you said, whether you could have done better. Oh, I forgot to ask this. What did they say there? Where you're having a conversation. The other possibility, Daniela, is that right now you're looking at us. You could now turn that vision to whatever is in your physical environment. You can listen to what's in your physical environment. You can also feel what's in your hand when you do the dishes or you move a pen or you pick up your daughter. It's so easy to not really be there. What book was it? I think it was in Practical Enlightenment, one of the books that we've written. There's a chapter in there called Missing My Morning Coffee, where Shya talks about...
You know, it's very interesting because a moment ago I went away. I followed a thought and started tying a fishing fly in my mind. And I apologize for that, but it just happened. And it's sort of like missing my morning coffee.
You don't taste what you're drinking. You don't feel the cup in your hand. You're not here. You're consumed with an alternate reality.
That doesn't really exist, you see. I mean, I may eventually make that fishing fly, but my reality is distorted in that there's something here that I'm not looking at that pulled me away.
Any idea when you skipped off what the conversation was happening?
It was very quick, you know. Once you make the skip, it's hard to find your way back. It's like dreams.
So here Shya is demonstrating a couple things. One, he's demonstrating transformation happens in a state of honesty. He's not trying to pretend he was here when he's not. And he's also demonstrating the third principle. I don't see him being hard on himself for going.
As soon as I realized I was gone, I brought myself back.
Yeah,
but something initiated my thinking about something else while we're talking.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I skipped off as well, and I tried already to to use what I heard in the future with my daughter.
Very good. See, now that's very interesting. I have noted over time that I go away when somebody else is no longer present.
This is
And it's not as an excuse for my going away. It's just that when you go away, there is no longer a pull on me to engage with you because you left. So then I go away too.
a lot of people over the years have told us that they're a little embarrassed that they start thinking about laundry or emails or what to make for dinner whilst having sex. But what's really interesting is that for Shya and I, if one of us starts really thinking and we stop the action and say, wow, I'm really thinking, it's always simulthink. There's never one person who's really there and into it and the other person's off thinking. There's something that's happening that's a disconnect for both of us.
Exactly. So that you went off thinking and I went off thinking, if I weren't me, I would pretend I was still there listening.
Yeah, and sometimes at times when I talk to people, I realize maybe they disconnect, but while you say that, I can see now that I disconnected maybe before, and then when they disconnect, I judge them. But maybe I was already in my thoughts somewhere else.
Yes, exactly.
So that's really cool.
So and there's no, you see, this is like no fault insurance. Do you understand no fault insurance? Like if there's an accident, it's nobody's fault, it's an accident, and the insurance pays for it. This is nobody's fault that you go away. It's part of the machinery of the mind.
And who knows, maybe I was saying something that wasn't really fully formed and I drove you away. So it's a threefer. It's all perfect.
You can't do your life wrong in this moment. And this moment is where your life is taking place. So it's all good, you see.
And here we are actually celebrating the unexpected. You had no clue Shya was going to go away and talk about it. You had no clue you were going to see, oh, maybe I disconnect first, then they do, and I judge them. It's a really fun thing to discover your life newly in each moment if you don't judge what you see. And then if you see you judging what you see and you don't judge what you're judging.
But you see, the mind wants to have control over the way life shows up. And we have no control over the way life shows up. It shows up. I followed a thought. It included making an ant using CDC, which is col de canard, which is the tail feathers of a duck. That's pretty intricate going away.
Yeah, but it's your go-to go away. And that's the other thing. Shya has certain go-to go-aways. I have certain go-to go. Like if we go for a walk and for some reason we skip off, I'll skip off into perhaps emails or an article that I'm in the midst of writing. He'll skip off into fishing or tying flies. So if you know what your go-tos are, sometimes you can look back and go, oh, I'm avoiding doing the dishes, or oh, here I am again, rather than beat on yourself for being you.
It's more like celebrate being you, enjoy being you the way you are. That way you don't repeat life, you live life. Otherwise, your life is a repetition of all the things you said you didn't like in the first place.
Shya and I, part of the reason he ties fishing flies, we are avid fly fishers. And we haven't had as many opportunities during COVID. We had some trips to fly fish and do catch and release for these beautiful fish up in British Columbia, which is on the northwestern part of Canada, above Oregon and Washington State in the United States. And one of the types of fly fishing I love to do is a two-handed fly casting with something called a spey rod. It's really long. And one of the things I love about the spey rod is that if you try to make it go, it always goes, it just fails. But if you're slow and you're in each movement and you're doing it with precision, it's as if that line can dance out forever. But you have to be where you are. So in a certain respect, being here today, being on the global video seminars, Daniela, is like this practice in being in your movements. And then if you start to find yourself speedy and thinky, all you have to do is go back to the basics and you'll be there again in an instant.
See, as soon as you realize you're not here, you're back. So I just spoke up about having gone away as soon as I realized I had gone away, rather than try to pretend I was still here listening when I wasn't.
Yeah, I can do that. Pretty cool. A good pretending listening when I was gone a lot of times.
Yes.
Most of us are really good at pretending listening.
Yeah.
And we learned how to do that in school, where you didn't want to get called out for having drifted away. Or in my case, I used to put my head down on my desk, but the drool
Gave you away.
Gave me away because I'd often be tired at school and I'd fall asleep and I would drool. So
that's what I love about you.
I drool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Funny, isn't it?
Yeah. Those things that we tend to be embarrassed about, but are really, I love drool sleep. I know this is not anything to do with anything.
But this is kind of like the unexpected.
When I can fall asleep relaxed enough that everything just goes, there's something really wonderful about that. My grandma used to do that. So when I do that, I remind myself of my grandma, which is a really high compliment.
She snored too, Grandma.
Did she?
Yeah.
Yeah. She did, actually.
She did, and so do you.
I have a feeling I'm really cute when I snore, though.
You are. You are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
She's like, what do I say to that? Anything else, Daniela, before we end for today?
No, that's great. That's fine. It's really good.
Really, really a treat.
Yeah, it's a treat to see you and be with you. And thank you so very much for joining us and being here.
And being our guest.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You know, if you're enjoying the podcast, you can listen to it over. Here's one of the things we were talking to Danielle about. You don't have to hang on to anything. You're welcome to listen to it again. You certainly can share it with your friends. And if you haven't yet subscribed, you can have it come right to you by subscribing. And if you want to be a guest, or you want to do your own listener spotlight, you can again go to transformationmadeeasy.com/being here and find out how. Next week's episode, it takes a team. I like that episode after this one because it really is what Daniela was alluding to as well, how the teamwork pulls her into herself. Yes. Thanks for being with us today. We'll be back next week.
So come on back.
And don't miss
being
here.